But first, I wanted to talk about some of the hysterical coronavirus reporting, which seems designed not to inform, but to scare the bejesus out of the audience. And it's working in the UK, the US, and even in Australia, where the curve was crushed as soon as the borders were closed. Many of our fellow citizens not only embrace illogical, livelihood-destroying restrictions, but want them to continue for months to come. A scared populace is a submissive one. The bulk of the reporting on COVID-19 has been simplistic and alarmist, and nowhere has that been more evident than in the coverage of the pandemic in the US, which has predictably been coloured with fake news, half-truths, and barely concealed Trump derangement syndrome. It was all too much for Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis, who became so irate with the biased coverage that on Thursday he blasted the media for spinning a typical partisan narrative instead of reporting facts.
Because you got a lot of people in your profession who waxed poetically for weeks and weeks about how Florida was going to be just like New York. Wait 2 weeks, Florida's going to be next. Just like Italy, wait 2 weeks. Well, hell, we're 8 weeks away from that, and it hasn't happened. Not only do we have a lower death rate, well, we have way lower deaths generally, we have a lower death rate than the Acela Corridor, D.C., everyone up there. We have a lower death rate than the Midwest, Illinois, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio. But even in our region, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida has the lower death rate. And I was the #1 landing spot from tens of thousands of people leaving the #1 hot zone in the world to come to my state. So we've succeeded, and I think that people just don't want to recognize it because it challenges their narrative.
Florida has done so well that CNN and other leftist media is now pushing a conspiracy theory that they're fudging the figures. Dr. Rebecca Jones is being promoted as some courageous scientist that was sacked because she refused to manipulate the data. The truth is that Jones's doctorate is in geography, and she was sacked because she refused to listen to the real scientists. And, oh, by the way, she's facing a number of serious criminal charges, including robbery and sexual cyberstalking. But that hasn't stopped the media from promoting her as the heroic chief architect of Florida's COVID-19 web portal in an effort to push their tired old narratives about Republican governors. DeSantis wasn't copying that either.
And she's not a data scientist. She's somebody that's got a degree in journalism, communication, and geography. She is not involved in collating any data. She does not have the expertise to do that. She is not an epidemiologist. She is not the chief architect of our web portal. That is another false statement. And what she was doing was she was putting data on the portal which the scientists didn't believe was valid data. So she didn't listen to the people who were her superiors. She had many people above her in the chain of command. And so she was dismissed because of that.
So why are the media so desperate to smear Florida? Well, because they predicted mass deaths and disaster, and the figures paint a very different story. The Florida governor was accused of being reckless, stupid, and engaging in human sacrifice for his woefully underprepared response to the virus. Meanwhile, the Democratic New York governor, Andrew Cuomo, has been endlessly praised for his supposedly hardline response and labelled a true leader blessed with, and I quote, wisdom and competence. But here's the stark reality. New York, America's fourth most populous state, is a disaster zone with 1,496 deaths per 1 million of population. That is more than 5 times the US average. That is worse than Belgium's figures, which are the worst in the world. But Florida, America's third most populous state, has performed admirably in reopening the economy while protecting the vulnerable. Florida has 104 deaths per 1 million of population, despite being the second oldest state, with more than 20% of residents aged over 65, compared to New York's 16.4%. Of course, factors such as warm weather and high-density living have an influence, but among the most insanely ruinous decisions made by the New York Governor, Andrew Cuomo, was to order nursing homes to take COVID-19 patients, thereby exposing a vulnerable population to a deadly virus. That's seen more than 5,800 New Yorkers die in nursing homes from COVID-19, compared to around 970 in Florida. DeSantis didn't order nursing homes to take COVID-19 patients. No, he ordered the National Guard to conduct on-site tests at nursing homes, ordered all staff at senior care facilities to be screened for temperatures, and ordered hospitals to test patients before transferring them to the care facilities. But he is accused of being a granny killer, while Cuomo is celebrated as a visionary leader. No wonder trust in the media is at historic lows in the US.